opportunities. Normally, a return of serve, one of his great strengths, of course. Not on the big points in this game so far. Nadal dodged a bullet there. Didn't play particularly well throughout that game, but managed to hold serve nevertheless.
One of the changes that Davydenko has to adjust to tonight is the very, very much different serve between playing Burdick and Nadal. Not only is it a lefty, but it's a very, very spinny serve, Nadal's as well. Burdick's is very flat. It's almost arrow-like. It doesn't change direction. It doesn't really spin off the court that much, Burdick's serve. It's almost very much one-directional, whereas Nadal's tends to spin. It tends to skid away from you. It's also got a lot less pace.
Good return. Took a pretty sizable swing at that half volley. Chances of timing it, therefore, relatively slim.
I don't think he was expecting the return to be quite so vicious, was he?
Nice to see him mixing things up behind the serve, though. Something that you have to do to stand any chance at all of beating Nadal.
And as we thought, going to the Rafa's backhand corner and exposing a big part of the court. Didn't use it there, but it was there if he needed to hit into.
love the combination of shots. That's why it's so important for both these guys to get their first serve in, because then it'll allow them the best possible chance of playing aggressively from the back of the court afterwards.
Good effort. Game plan again in evidence, very clearly. One of the things about Nadal's serve as well, with the first serve, as we mentioned, that it does spin so much. There's so much work on the first one. It's moving away. It's hard to really get a clean connection, and it doesn't look like the best serve in the world, but it stays very low. Not always that deep in the box either.
That's what Davydenko will be hoping to do. Hit the ball hard, relatively flat, rush Nadal into error. No mistaking who that is.
Just peppering, isn't he, Davydenko? Just working Nadal's backhand over.
Usually so tidy from the back of the court. Already today, quite alarmingly, 7 unforced errors so far coming from the racket of Nadal. We've only played 2.5 games. Good stuff. Impressive shot selection throughout the course of that rally.
Yeah, and he doesn't give away any ground either, Davydenko, when he's being attacked. And he can transfer into offense right there. Saw it so early.
Well, this the 4th break point of the match as far as the Russians concerned. Brilliant. Davydenko playing to his strengths and managing to convert on his 4th break point of the match. And the Russian has drawn first blood. Well, there's no question about the fact that Davydenko has come into the match with a very clear picture in his mind of exactly what he wants to try and do in order to break down Nadal's backhand. Almost 70% of his shots have been hit to that particular wing so far, yet he's varied it just enough to keep Nadal guessing.
Too far away. I know, but
interesting that you mentioned earlier in the match about how impressed you were with Davydenko's backhand cross-court in the Miami final when the Russian defeated the Spaniard. But I think, if memory serves as well, he was so impressive at the net too. And again, nice to see him willing to come forwards and win the point from the forecourt there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing you have to do with Nadal is you have to pick and choose when you're coming in, don't you? Because you're going to get stuck very, very often by probably the best defender of all time today's game, not just of the current era, but of all time. So you do have to be very, very careful when you are approaching.
To win the points in the end, but again, spot on for choosing the appropriate moment to come in.
I think Rafa will feel he should have made this, but you're absolutely right. It was a good move and a good volley. And Rafa, no, maybe not. It's very, very low, wasn't it? But I think by his standards...
Yeah, once he makes the distance, I think he would fully expect to get the ball back in play.
Really enjoyed the serve, and then of course to go back behind Nadal was a really good ploy. And clearly Nadal was leaning towards the backhand there, not only leaning but going backwards as well. Occasions, Nick, when perhaps it wasn't the right time to come in. You've just got to be so careful, haven't you? You've got to be make sure it's the right ball. It's good depth, but maybe a little bit central.
Davydenko's not a good enough volleyer to be able to win the majority of points when the ball's lower than the height of the net. He's got to try and make sure that when he does come in, he gets relatively simple shots with which to win the point.
Again, I also think Davydenko volleys a lot better on the backhand side than he does on the forehand. He almost has two hands on it for quite a long time on the backhand volley, and you very often see him drop it short on both sides.
It's a phenomenal delivery. That's one of those low volleys that I was talking about. He doesn't have the finesse and the confidence, I don't think, to put that ball back in play, hold his position and wait for Nadal to do something on a second shot. He will try and hit winners with that, and it's a risky business.
Especially with Rafa at the other end, because he knows it's got to be inch perfect. It's a big space there down the line when he's hit that volley cross court, and he just tried to do too much.
First break point of the match for the Spaniard. Well, given it's a break point, I think he just wants peace of mind more than anything else. Well, long.
Commit to that, did he? Strange. Sort of almost rolled it as opposed to really hitting it.
There are 4 categories on the ATP Tour in which statistics are kept in regard to return of serve. Points run returning first serve, points won returning second serve, break points converted, and return games won. Nadal tops the list in 3 of those 4 categories. It's good length there again. Skidded off the line, no question about that. Nadal has posted impressive numbers throughout the course of the season when returning. No surprise then that Davydenko is under pressure here once more. Third break point for the Spaniard. Well, Nadal was making his move there. Davydenko's Achilles heel is the quality of the second serve, so Nadal will be looking to try and pressure him. He gets a look at one. Took advantage of the fact that Nadal just slipped there a little bit.
Well, one thing Davydenko does so well is he takes the ball at shoulder height very, very well. It really reared off the court that forehand, as Nadal's always does. But Davydenko was able to step in and take it very, very early. Anyone in the world will be happy with this volley of the very best. Full stretch.
It's done well so far. A real battle, that service game, but Davydenko eventually prevails. He's not serving as well as he would want so far. He's only made 10 of 22 first serves. That's 45%. So he'll want to improve those numbers and be quick about it if he's to make the most of this relatively sizable lead midway through this opening set.
And again, he's not allowing Nadal to settle at all. Nadal's not able to get any sort of rhythm. He's constantly pinning him in that forehand corner. He's executing very well at the moment.
By much. We've talked about how impressive Nadal's been throughout the course of the season when returning. Davydenko's not far behind. He's third in the world in terms of points won returning first serves, second in the world, points won returning second serve, and again just behind Nadal in second place in return games won. So these two are a couple of the best in the business. So we can expect, I guess, a few breaks of serve. Davydenko with an opportunity to move ahead by a double break. And he's done it. And again, drawing the error from the Nadal forehand with that cross-court backhand. It's a pattern of play that he loves to use, especially against the Spaniard. 4-1 first set. Nadal's already taken various medication for the pain that he's suffering in his right knee.
If you struggle, you can increase the injury. So on a medical point of view, I don't think we can really help you more than what you can do.
My doctor's suggesting they can't help him anymore.
Or you want to try to keep on playing on the court and maybe on the train.
I have always been
No, it is more on the top and you can try to relax a bit, but for the sense to put a bit less. This is the only thing we're trying to do. For this part we can do nothing. The only thing we can try to help you is to try to make this muscle a bit more loose. So you need to pull less on the patella. This is the only thing we're trying to do. Because on this part, yeah. So we're going to work on this part because you make the injection there. Okay. So we'll take.
The decision is trying.
So there's a chance that we take the medical to try to make this muscle more loose. We try to help him because if it doesn't go better, he will stop the match.
No, just
yeah. So I think we'll have to try to.
okay.
The trainer suggesting that if they don't help him, he will stop. So they're going to try and relax that quad,
yeah, we'll take it down.
which is pretty sizable to say the least, but it's obviously pulling on the knee, causing him a fair bit of distress.
And he looks quite resigned, Nadal, I have to say. He was almost saying, well, give it a go, but I'm not sure.
I think he said exactly that, didn't he? He said, look, see what you can do, and I will try, but if it's as bad as this and it doesn't get any better, I'm all done. And I guess if it was the last tournament of the season, he might be able to play through that pain a little more, but there's a Shanghai and then the Davis Cup final, so the last thing that he will want to do here is aggravate it further still, even though this obviously a huge tournament.
Absolutely, and I think what we're seeing here is what was borne out by what the comments that came from the Nadal camp prior to this tournament, that Tony said he was on his last legs, as I said at the start of this match, and we're just seeing it right now. You know, should we be surprised? I don't necessarily think so from the year that he's had.
And is this just a microcosm of what we might expect to see in regard to Nadal over the next 2 or 3 years? Can his body take the constant pounding, given how much he plays, how much success he's enjoyed in the last few seasons, and how hard he has to work each and every day when he plays this game?
2 minutes remain.
I think over the past 2 years he has tried to change his game. He certainly, if you look at where he was 3-4 years ago, he has stepped up to the baseline. He has tried to end points quicker. I know there are a lot of people out there who do feel that the burnout might not be too far around the corner. I was interviewing Michael Stick last year, and he was saying he felt Nadal probably had a year.
This calendar, we're going to play 2 more years.
The nature of the way he plays, and he was going to be done. For me personally, I'm not 100% sure, if I'm brutally honest with you. I think
we have obligatory tournaments.
When you look at the great clay quarters, though, down the years, they have found it difficult to dominate for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Borg did remarkably well to do so throughout the course of a 6-year period, perhaps, in the French Open. But if you look at the likes of Muster, of Guga,
1 minute.
Jim Courier, when he was at the top of the game, they won the French Open 2, 3 times tops, and they found it very, very difficult to maintain that consistency thereafter, because it does take so much out of you physically and mentally.
And I think probably mentally is also a major factor, as you say, because it's not only the physical toll, but the mental effort that Nadal puts on it. You know, we've got to remember, I think, that in some respects, I think tennis comes that naturally to Nadal. You know, I don't think he's a genius in terms of what he does with the ball, but he's just an unbelievable worker. He is someone who has left every inch he's ever had out there on a tennis court. Really not. If you watch Nadal practice, it's ridiculous. You know, I spent an hour this year at Wimbledon watching him practice with the guy, and this guy was running side to side. Nadal was just relentless. So I think that gives you an indicator that it's not just about what we see here, but what we see elsewhere as well.
Well, let's
stay in the back.
That's
and we come back next one. And we
deep tissue massage has helped relieve some of the tension on Nadal's right knee. Even if it has, he's still got a mountain to climb here. The 2006 champion, Nikolai Davydenko, leads by a double break in this opening set. Yeah, excellent stuff. The last thing Nadal wants to be doing right now is chasing balls down. So tactically, very astute play. Davydenko. Nadal said that when he pushes off on that right leg, when he gets set up to hit the backhand, that's what's causing him the most distress. And that's where Davydenko's been hitting the majority of his shots, obviously. Spur Nadal on to try and win the points a little sooner than he has been.
Without doubt. And it's also important that Davydenko just really focuses on what's going on at his end, because if he gets distracted at all,
I think it's going to be curtains for Nadal. He didn't move to that backhand at all. Not even trying to put any pressure on the leg. Nick, quite honestly, I can't see the point in Nadal continuing to play, because it was going to be a tough enough ask for him anyway against Davydenko, given how well the Russian was playing. And if you're not going to be able to move properly, well, what chance do you have?
Yeah, I think he knows that, doesn't he? He knows that from the sit-down. We were very, very resigned the way he was talking to the trainer. was distressed, really. I think if he loses this game, we may well see the end of this match.
Well, I think also he feels pretty bad because he's in one of his favourite cities right now, and his record here is absolutely phenomenal. They love him like one of their own, and the last thing he would want to do is let them down. Even the challenge was relatively half-hearted, wasn't it? And that's not a word that you would normally use in describing anything that Nadal does. I bet when he gets up in the morning, brushes his teeth, he gives it 101%. I'll tell you a couple of people that might be relatively interested in what's happening today as well. It'll be Jeff Coetzee and Wesley Moody. They're up against Nadal and Monaco in the doubles later today. And if they win that match, they've got an excellent chance of qualifying for Shanghai. So very, very interesting. Also what happens is when you're carrying a little niggly injury is that you just can't concentrate on playing properly. That's obviously what's happening at the moment. Set points.
Probably the last time Rafa was on evidence this unfit was in Rome, wasn't it, when he withdrew from the event there? But very, very unusual for Rafa to withdraw mid-match if he used to do so here.
That's a good shot. I don't think he actually withdrew from Rome. Just a lot of blisters on his hand. But interestingly, he finished the match, even though it was obvious that he was really struggling, because he doesn't like to obviously give up unless it's absolutely necessary. But of course, we did have those two injury defaults in the semi-finals in that tournament. It was a bit disastrous, really, for all of those lucky enough or unlucky enough, depending on how you want to look at it, to have tickets that day. It's pointless Nadal carrying on if he's going to be forced to play points like that.
Not only painful for him, it's painful for everyone, because it's pretty clear. You don't have to be a tennis expert to know that he is really not a well man.
Luckily for us.
Too true.
It is interesting one. The crowd aren't sure how to respond here either, because I think they're a knowledgeable bunch and they know it doesn't matter how much they support him, it's going to be tough to try and rectify this situation. And they're just bitterly disappointed, I'm sure, as we all are.
Every time he hits the Nadal backhand, there's just no one at home.
Another chance to put Nadal out of his misery. I'd be very surprised if that wasn't all she wrote. That'll be it. Beating Nadal irrespective of that injury. But of course it's always a shame when the best player in the world has to retire, whatever the occasion. But we hope that he recovers sooner rather than later, and they should be treating him an awful lot better than they are at the moment, given all that he's achieved in this particular city. In this instance, though, it's Davydenko who moves through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, a little bit uncalled for. I think that crowd reaction here, they're not afraid to let their feelings be known. The Parisians, we see that every year at Roland Garros. But I think if you know Nadal, you know he doesn't quit on his stool easily. And that was not called for, in all truth.
Couldn't agree with you more there. Pretty pointless really looking at the numbers, apart from to state how well Davydenko was playing really before we saw evidence of the injury. He was serving effectively, perhaps would have wanted to get a few more first serves in, but from the back of the court, tactically spot on.
Absolutely, totally. We pointed it out at the start. We thought he might go to the Nadal backhand to open up the forehand, when that's exactly what he did. He is hitting the ball very sweetly, and I tell you what, it's going to take someone very, very good to stop him from claiming a second title here.
So it'll be Davydenko and Nalbandian that will do battle tomorrow in the semi-final in the top half of the draw. And unfortunately, there's more bad news. James Blake has also progressed to the semi-finals because Roger Federer has had to withdraw from the tournament. He did so about an hour or so ago. They had a press conference and he suggested that he's injured his back and he didn't want to take to the court this evening.